Okay, greetings class. What we're going to do here is we're going to start our lesson 2 hands-on projects. In the instructor announcements there is some information on how to do that hands-on project, but I'm going to show you how to get there. So if you go to your course, you click on the ebook, your ebook will launch over here. And what I usually do is I click on the full book. I'm going to click on chapters. We're going to go to chapter 8. And we're going to do a hands-on project, and we need to do project 8.2, so I'll copy all the information regarding 8.2, and I think there's about 25 steps, so we're going to go ahead and copy that, open up a Word document, and we're going to paste it in there. So the steps for this project is going to be on a Windows 7 Professional, Ultimate, or Enterprise. If you don't have that, that's okay. We'll go ahead and use your whatever you have, Windows 8 or Windows 10. And when it refers to the Start menu, you're going to click here as the Start menu. Okay? So that is considered the Start menu. Now when you turn in this assignment, I'm going to require you to use Snipping Tool. It's built into every Windows 7 and higher machine. Snipping tool, you just simply type snipping. It comes up as the snipping tool. When you want to capture something, you click new. You drag and click what you're going to capture, and then you could save that, or you can right click and copy it and paste it in a Word document. Okay? So you're going to be required to take pictures of these steps as you go along. I'm going to teach you different ways to complete each step. So that's what you're going to use for snipping tool. So step 1 wants us to create a new account, and it tells us to go to Start, go to Control Panel, and create the account. Now when you're in the Control Panel, you're going to have different views over here. You're going to have Category View, or you may have Small or Large Icon View. So you can see we're looking for User Account. Sometimes, you know, if it's a different view, you may not find it, right? It'll tell you to go into Administrative Tools later on, and in Category, you don't really see Administrative Tools, right? You'll have to change that view to find that Administrative Tools. So it wants us to create a user called a new user. For this, we're going to go to this PC. We're going to right click on this PC. We're going to go to Manage. You're going to go to Local Users and Groups. Click on Users, you right click, and you're going to add a new user. And this new user is going to be new user. And it says set a password. Now you can make it whatever you want. You're going to uncheck this because you don't want to change it as soon as you log in. And then you'll take a snippet of when that new user is created in your account right here, right? So I want a snippet of right here, that new user. And that lets me know you have created that new user. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to try to snap this to the side, so as I'm doing these steps, it could easily be seen. So it wants us to go to the Control Panel, Administrative Tools, right? So Control Panel, Administrative Tools, and it wants us to click on the Local Security Policy, right? And there's different ways to get here as well. You could type in, I'm going to close that out. You could type in secpool.msc. Right, and that pulls up the same thing, right? And what it wants us to do here is expand the local policies, and it wants us to, I believe, create some auditing for our login policies, right? So account login, let's see, let me make this bigger real quick. Expand the local policies, audit policies. It wants us to know how many policies appear. So you take a snippet of that, then you can answer that question, how many policies appear. Right, double click to audit account logon events. Right, and take a snippet of that right there. Select the failure, click OK. You're going to failure OK, and you're going to go ahead and take a snippet of this right here, right? So you show that you've set that, and the failure is set. Okay, so now it wants us to examine some of these policies. So we're going to just simply examine some. It says which one of these would need to be highlighted if you're changing your password, or which one would you need to use to track changing the password. So basically you need to click around in here and understand what that means. If you don't understand what a policy is, you simply go to explain and it'll explain what that policy does if you apply it or don't apply it. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult to understand, like audit log on events, success or failure, or something maybe differently worded. So you could simply go to explain to find out what that is and what that does. It wants you to then go to your event viewer and look at some of the logon events by going to the Windows log security. So there's two ways that you can get to your event viewer. You can go to control panel, right, and you could look for your event viewer through the control panel as it discusses, or I simply just go event viewer. I type in the word event, it populates, and I'm able to go to the event viewer. Once you go to Windows logs and then security, and you can see log on success or failure in here. So it says that we did an audit policy change, right? That's where we just made the change to track that logging failure. Next, it wants you to log off and on as a new user, and then go ahead and look in the event logs to find that log, or it wants you to fail it, right? So don't type the correct password. Go in back here and see if you have that event ID. Now what I want you to do is take a snippet of that event ID. So you're going to log off, right? I'm not going to do that because I'll lose video. You're going to log back on as your new user. You're going to type the password incorrect and then open up the event viewer and find where that failed. It will go in order, so you can see where it fails, and it'll have a certain event ID. So I'll know if you've done that, and you just need to take a snippet of that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple more things, these steps right here. It wants us to go ahead and go back to that sec pool, right? If we don't remember how to get there, right, or we closed it out by accident, we could just type secpool.msc, right? And you could see it coming up right here. You just double click, it'll open this up. It wants us to go to audit policy to audit object. Remember how I talked about what's explained here, right? So the questions that it's asking you is it wants you to click explain, and then using that being open, answer these questions. What's a SACL? What's a SACL for? All right, and then it wants you to on the local security settings tab, success or failure for the check boxes. So it wants you to go ahead and click this and click explain and read what that is and what it does. All right, so that's those questions. It wants you to select success failure on the local security settings tab. Of this folder. So that's written pretty poorly, but it wants you to click success failure here. Click OK. Right, it's still talking about the audit object access. Click success failure. Now it wants you to go to this folder and it wants you to click auditing, and then change the security of that folder to allow the new user to have full control. Right. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. We could just type C:, our C comes up, or we can click on our folders and go to this PC and and click through C, users, public folder. Wants us to right click and go to properties, go to security, and click on the advanced tab, and it wants you to click on auditing, continue, and you're going to add a user to that auditing. So you're going to add the new user, right? So I think I have a space in the name or something, right? So I'm adding the new user to have full control of that folder, and you click apply or you click OK. Now what's going to happen there is you're going to have that some errors should come up because it can't propagate all the way through, so that's okay. But what I want you to do is take a picture of the advanced auditing to show you that user here. Okay, so you should have a snippet of new user having that auditing information. And sometimes when you can't set your permissions, you have to change the ownership and change it to you. Right now it's on system. If I change it to me and take ownership of that folder, then I'll be able to change the objects of that folder. And this is primarily how a file share works, right? If I click and make a new folder, I could initiate properties of that folder to security to only allow certain people, right? I could remove some people. If it's grayed out, it means it's inherited from the top folder above, which would be the C folder. But that's basically how a file share works. But in this instance, you just need to set the new user with auditing, and then you're going to try to do things to that folder with the new user, and then go to the event logs to take snippets of the summary of what's happened in that event log. In this particular event log, you're going to click on audit success, right, in the event logs. So you'll have audit success in these event logs, right? So that's what you're going to do. You're going to take a snippet of those and just simply answer these questions. And these questions, they should have pictures of what you've done, what changes you've made. Don't just answer here yes or no or yes. You're going to take those snippets of what you've done. Okay? All right. Good luck to you.